With monsters these days, you never know if they're going to eat you in the good way or the bad way. And I think that might be part of the appeal.
The danger.
So much sex.
Yeah. I might die tonight.
But I'll go happy. Hey geeks, welcome back to Sister Geeks Vlog. I'm T Mac.
I'm Jen P.
And I'm Anna.
And welcome to our Summer of Monsters. Summer 2017 is all about monsters at Sister Geeks. All kinds of monsters, different monsters, scary monsters, funny monsters, magical monsters. So what we did was here in May, we all covered a monster of our choice. Jen took vampires, I got werewolves, and Anna covered zombies because, I don't know, they're the loves of her life or something. It's so weird. Anyway, so what we're gonna do today is pit them against each other to determine who is the baddest. For the sake of time, we are not gonna argue every single point. What we're gonna do is talk about 5 different categories and which one we all kind of determined together probably won the day in that particular category.
Though there are some we can't agree upon.
It's true. It's true. Some of them, I'll go
The
toe to
claws
toe for
might
mine.
come out. I'll bring the fangs, you bring the claws.
Indeed. So our categories are these: biggest threat, the most believable monster, the most historical or the one with the most cultural relevance, the sexiest, and the trendiest. So let's start off with the very biggest threat. I think we were all across the board in agreement that zombies definitely pose the biggest threat to society. Werewolves, are really, really tough, usually just a few days a month, and they've kind of got to try to
slow grow. There's like a slow.
Yeah,
they're slowly adding to their coven.
Yeah,
and only hot people. Just saying.
So werewolves and vampires tend to grow their ranks very gradually. Not so with zombies, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, they do not discriminate.
No.
They're not picky at all.
Tell us about how zombies just take over everything like that.
I mean, if you think about it, they're like insects. They're like locusts. They start out very small and spread very quickly, very rapidly. And you're right. They're not choosy, picky about who they bring into their group. It's just a matter of, hey, that person's still living and breathing. Let me So that just spreads like that. It's not slow moving like it would be with vampirism or werewolves. It doesn't take a considerable. In fact, in some movies, it's immediate. It happens immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost always post-apocalyptic in zombie movies. Like that's just a theme for zombie outbreak because it's also viral on top of the monsters themselves. You've got a virus usually that's caused it in the first place that spreads just as easily as the attacks do.
That's true.
More so.
That's true. It's really interesting because, when you look at any reference to vampires or werewolves, if people even know about them, which typically they don't,
right?
But if regular people even know about them, there's a battle to be had.
Mm-hmm.
Like humans fight these monsters. But with zombies, there isn't any fighting. There's only trying to survive the zombie apocalypse. Like it's always an apocalypse, like you said. And then it's just people trying to survive. And even survival is just that. It's not any real type of life. You'd almost, like there's the thought or, there's a lot of people who would rather just be killed pretty quickly than try to survive in that world.
Well, yeah.
And I think I'm one of them as well.
Yeah, zombies happen, I just want to be gone in the beginning.
I'm done.
Like, I don't want to deal with that.
It's too much.
And to your point, like, since we're talking about the biggest threat, I just want to say real quick, the thing about zombies, too, that's so scary about them, that makes them the biggest threat, is it can be anybody. I mean, we're talking about vampires, we're talking about werewolves, and usually it's chosen people, but usually with the zombies, it's just draw of luck. I mean, it's just like wrong place, wrong time, and it can be your mother, your brother, your sister, or a complete stranger you don't know, and that's what makes it so easy for them to take over.
I agree.
It's quick.
That was an easy one for everybody to kind of agree on.
Yeah, I'm terrified of zombies. Like, again, like, zombies happen, just take me out. Like, I just go ahead and shoot me like I'm done.
I have to agree. I don't do zombies. Like, I don't watch the movies. They're not funny. They're not cute. They're thank
scary.
you. Mm-mm.
I'm not a very fast runner.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine I would do very. I love zombies, but I would be totally.
So, bottom line, zombie apocalypse happens. Don't come looking for the Sister Geeks because we are out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm either in a
we're
bunker or I'm already dead.
Yeah, we're gone. Don't even worry about us. That's it. Just forget about us. Our second category is most believable. And the thing is, like, when we came up with this category, there were two very different contexts for
Right.
it.
Right.
So, are we talking about the creature that's most likely to exist in the shadows without everybody knowing it? Or are we talking about the creature that is most likely to become real? Like, which one could most easily become real? Because the answers are very different.
Right.
I think if you're talking about the first category with a monster that could exist right now and stay off the radar, stay hidden so that nobody actually knew they existed, I think werewolves take the day.
And I'll give you that one. I think, like you said once before, was they are only out, 3 to 5 nights a month.
Right?
And they can mingle with everybody.
Yeah, the rest of the time they blend and eat normal food. This is key. Werewolves eat normal food, at least the vast majority of the time, unlike the other creatures on our list. It's hard to blend when you're an all blood diet or an all brain diet. I'm just saying. Like, people in the diner are gonna notice. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you could bring a flask.
I mean, that's what hospitals are for.
Hit the morgue for your blood and brains.
Exactly. Yes.
But I think on the other side of it, if we're talking about assuming that none of the creatures are real at this time, but we're looking at which ones are most likely to become real, again, it's got to be the zombies, right?
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about a situation where something could happen that could realistically happen to spread a zombie virus, we can clone sheep.
Hey, and I've actually seen news reports where, like, dead bodies, like, move after the fact.
Yeah.
Then again, in defense of vampires, there were documented cases back in the 1700s of men rising from the grave and supposedly drinking the blood of the townsfolk. I mean, who's to say there wasn't a point at which they did exist and they just don't anymore? Or maybe they do, but they're more secretive now.
Yeah, no.
And my biggest problem with the werewolves was the transformation aspect of it. Like, that part of the believability was harder for me than people who need blood to survive or need brains to survive. Yeah. I think that this one's a draw. I think this could go 3 ways, like, depending on the way that you look at the question.
It's true. It's true. Depending on how you understand the question, there could be different answers. So we'll go with that. But I think overall, probably zombies take it.
Yeah.
Just if we're looking at the ones, assuming none of them is real now, the one that's most likely to become real
Whatever.
is a
ladies.
zombie.
Whatever, ladies. I'm still holding out hope for my glittery boys, okay?
Audible sigh.
It just makes me angry. Like,
Hey, who doesn't want a man who likes a little glitter in his life?
Wow.
I really don't. My husband doesn't do glitter.
I'm okay without that.
And I'm
really.
okay with that.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on. Yeah. Okay, so our third category is the most influential, or the one that's given the most to culture, the one that's been recognized the most, whose historical relevance stretches back the furthest. And I think in this particular category, there wasn't really a fight. I think we, hands down, had to give it to the vampires, right?
Well, solely for Dracula. If for no other reason, Dracula is the most depicted character on television, if not, I think it's literature as well, across the board.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who Dracula is. There's no question he's a vampire. And he's in over, I think, 170 films.
That's a lot.
I mean, in one form or another, Dracula, he's the dude.
I have to agree. And what I find so fascinating about it is that not only is the character incredibly famous, but the character is so famous that he has made famous the person the character's based off of. Like, we all know who Vlad the Impaler is because Dracula is based on him.
Right.
There have been a lot of horrible, horrible rulers over time, but we don't know all their names. This guy, we know his name because Dracula is based on him.
Yeah, because Bram Stoker was like, hey, let's put him in a much scarier castle and say he drank blood.
Right? That guy was awful, by the way.
He was super violent.
He's
super violent.
horrible.
But there was
Awful.
no proof that he was a vampire, just so you know.
Just so you know. Interestingly enough, though, like where he's from, he was considered kind of a hero.
Like a benevolent lord.
Like he really, he was thought to bring prosperity to his people at that time,
Right.
and he was a conqueror, so that they weren't being conquered. Like it, for his folks,
It's a matter of perspective.
you know, they were into it. It's just you didn't want to get on his bad side,
Yeah.
but
Your head might end up on a pike.
for real.
Just saying.
But anyway, so category number 3, I think hands down goes to the vampires. Well done,
Yes, you
vamps.
win.
But I do want to make sure I point out that it's the horrific vampires that we're giving this to. It's the terrible vampires. It's the ones that strike fear into the hearts of people, not the ones that sparkle in the sun. I'm just saying. Moving right along.
I ain't trying to make out with Dracula, y'all. Just saying.
And that brings us to our next category. Category number 4, sexiest. And here, there is some room for debate, definitely. I think we all agree there are a couple of examples of sexy zombies, right? We said
iZombie and
iZombie.
Warm Bodies.
And warm bodies.
Warm Bodies,
Yes.
Nicholas Holt, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nicholas
I
Holt.
think that about sums up the hot zombies. though.
It's a very short
That
list.
really is.
Yeah. Though literally every dude on iZombie is hot. So I mean, they on the
Yes.
numbers there, maybe they got a horse in this race, but nah.
For the most part, those are the only going to be, those are going to be the only 2 examples of hot zombies that you get.
So I humbly draw out of this part of the race, ladies, and I throw it back to you.
Thank you so much. Because when you talk about sexy with werewolves and vampires, now there's
And it's
there's
two
some meat there.
totally different styles. I mean,
Yes.
hot goth or just dark and sexy for vamps, or shirtless, tan, sweaty animal man.
muscle
like-
meat, just man candy
I can
on the
get
werewolf side.
I can get into either one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm down with either one. Hell, I even like the zombies. Okay, like the hot zombies. Just so we're clear.
But their bodies would be falling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not on iZombie. They have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
As long as
I have to
as they eat
admit,
brains.
the ex-fiance is pretty gorgeous.
Major.
He's beautiful. He's
Would you make
beautiful.
out with a zombie after he ate brains?
No, hell nah. Hell no.
No,
Okay.
that's a mouthwash.
Going back to Warm Bodies, Nicholas Holt, stinking adorable, but when that kiss scene happened, I was like, no. Like, please, God, don't kiss him. Make that man brush his teeth. Like, I don't care if you're both about to die and this is the last chance you got, don't do it. He has been eating your ex-boyfriend's brains.
There's got to be a line somewhere, right, guys?
And there you go. So let's see. Let's talk about it. So we've got
Yeah.
the dark and brooding, gothic kind of sexy of vampires. Who you got?
I mean, start back with Dracula from the early 90s. Oh gosh, it's the guy who plays Sirius Black.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
God, I'm drawing a blank right now. But it's Keanu, Winona Ryder, and
Yes.
him. And I was just talking about him with Vinny on the site the other
That's
day,
funny.
which is a crazy thing. Okay, so starting with Dracula, he's got kind of a steampunk, hot, sexy thing going on when he's trying to woo the woman.
Right.
Early in the movie, you get creepy Dracula. I mean, I'm talking like white face, pasty cracked skin, like lurking in the shadows, like climbing on the ceiling. Like, nah, I ain't trying to get on the backward ceiling crawling.
Yeah, we don't like it. We don't like it.
No. I mean, and then of course you've got your Twilight vampires who sparkle, who, I mean, Jacob was hotter, I'll give you that, but you know, for the most part, like, they're an attractive group of people.
Yeah.
They're very pale. They're always pale. Gosh, the Salvatore brothers on Vampire Diaries. That's where it's at. Really,
Yeah.
I mean, the Salvatore brothers sell me. I mean, you can put them up against pretty much anybody, and I'm gonna pick Salvatore brothers. Sorry, guys.
In the 90s, Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise were
Interview
sexy
with the
vampires for Interview with the Vampire.
Yes.
Do you guys remember that? Like,
Yeah.
that was some good stuff. I mean, in the 90s, that was good stuff.
Yeah. Well, even, I mean, 80s Lost Boys. Like, I mean, just the soundtrack alone makes you think everybody in that movie's hot. Like, I don't care that they had mullets and they, like, were totally crazy. The soundtrack made them hot, you know?
Of course, right?
So, all right, Vamps, we got quite a few guys in the running here, but let's talk about werewolves.
Whew. Here's the thing. Werewolves have made a resurgence here in the 21st century, and it is all about sex appeal. That is what werewolves are about right now. So if you want to top Twilight, if that's your thing, you've got Jacob. You've got Alcide Herveau on True Blood.
There's
That
not
man
really much competing with him. I mean,
delicious.
He's just a beautiful man.
He really is.
It's just,
Woo!
he takes care of himself.
yeah.
And let's talk about the fellows of Teen Wolf, shall we? Just, that's nice. Yeah. And I can say that because they're not really teens. You know what I'm saying? They're grown ass men with their shirts off, running around going, I'm 16. And I'm like, no, you're not.
Nah, I don't believe it.
You're really not.
Show me your ID.
And I'm okay with it.
God, they're gonna think Sister Geeks are just a bunch of damn perverts. I mean, we are.
We kind of are.
We kinda
We
are.
We are.
That's
but
a lie.
Yeah, we are.
It is what it is.
And we're okay with it. Free to be mean. Fly your freak flag high. Anyway, so I mean, so it depends on your taste. You know what your particular thing is. But I think it's a draw. I think it could go either way, and it is
Right.
very objective.
And I think we both can appreciate,
We can appreciate
This-
each other's,
obviously, except for Twilight for you.
obviously,
Yeah.
obviously.
Gonna
But
veto that one.
yeah, other than that, we can appreciate the assets of each other's particular monster. But my choice is werewolves. I like the man meat over like the broody goth thing. But that's just me.
And I'm gonna say Vamps, just because I don't know. I feel like they smell nice and they have decent jobs.
So you're basing this on like employment?
What? We're gonna keep it rolling.
All right.
And our final category is trendiest. Which of the monsters is the trendiest? And really, it could be argued for any of them, especially when you take into context television, film, and literature. Like, you could really argue for any of them. But I will say this, and this is something that you said in the past, that vampires have been popular for quite a while.
Right. They've had their day.
And it's starting to wane a little, maybe?
Yeah, we're kind of on the out. I mean, Vamps, with Twilight and True Blood and Vampire Diaries, vamps have had a really good go. We had a solid run, but I mean, it's definitely at the tail end of it. I mean, Vampire Diaries just wrapped up, and True Blood's been done for a bit. Twilight, obviously, that's not still going. So, you know, I think that Wares kind of picked up shortly after that. All kinds of Wares, really.
Yeah.
And then, but the real kicker is Anna over there.
Yeah, zombies are where it's at these days. People love them. They're everywhere.
Yeah, movies, TV. I mean, you know, we were just talking about iZombie, which is a really great show, and it was renewed for season 4, and is just doing really well. Walking Dead is a phenomenon. I talk about that all the time. And it was based off of a comic book series. The comic book series is still going as well. So I think they're really in their prime at this moment. Now we'll see how long it'll last, and you know, because it's like anything that people really get into. It's about what is the next big thing going to be, and could that be werewolves? Are werewolves going to be the next group to get their, you know, to be focused on?
Yeah, and I think that's a possibility. But angels, actually, I know this is coming from left field,
Right.
but angels and demons and that sort of thing could make a big comeback as well. In
Well,
literature, angels have made a huge comeback in the last several years in young adult fiction, and that's where a lot of all of this takes its trend from.
Right.
Is young adult fiction.
I'm reading Fallen right now, which is about exactly that. And the movie just came out, which kind of ridiculous, but I enjoyed it after a couple glasses of wine. And it encouraged me to read the series. So, you know, that's something to check out if you're looking for the next big thing, is maybe the Fallen series or similar fare. Embrace is another good one with angels and demons. So, you know, and Shadowhunters.
Shadowhunters is a good one. I've read a couple of series with angels the last few years, and they're pretty good. I mean, something kind of different from what the fare we've had. So, you know, it could be werewolves next, but I don't know that it will be. I kind of think it'll be something else. I think
good
werewolves will
cycle.
just kind of stay steady.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, they kind of fly under the radar. They usually hit about the time the vamps do. You know, you get the people rooting for the wares, and then, you know, they kind of keep going, whereas the vamp trend fades out, you know. And like zombies coming along this time around, I don't think zombies have ever really been big before now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the first time. And it, you know, it may not go on for very, very long, but I think it's got a little more steam left in it because I think World War Z has a sequel.
Yes,
yeah.
it
Right?
does.
And
Fear the Walking Dead.
there's Fear the
TV
Walking
show.
Dead, there's The Walking Dead, but then there's another zombie movie that's what was the hilarious one with
Zombieland.
Zombieland.
Zombieland 2.
Zombieland 2 is coming as well. So like zombies still have some steam in it, I think.
Steam, yeah.
I think it'll be a little minute, but it will be interesting to see what the next big one is.
Yeah.
The one that we'll see inundating, you know, television and movies.
Right. But it always starts with a young adult fiction, so
That's where to keep your eye on. It's true. It really does start there.
yeah,
all
follow the
about
trends
it.
at the bookstore and you'll probably
You'll know what's coming. Anyway, so this is our Summer of Monsters. This month, May, was vampires, werewolves, and zombies. Next month in June, we've got mermaids, dragons, and unicorns. So
We're gonna duke it out for the magicals.
make sure you check back in with us next month and join us for that. I think it'll be an interesting time as well because it's completely different type of monster.
Right.
So I think it'll be a whole different discussion.
Yeah, different categories. I think it'll be fun to see what we come up with for that one. You know, I'm a little
So make sure that you subscribe so that when that comes up, you can check that out as well. Thanks so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you guys next time. Make sure you check out the site, sistergeeks.net, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Later,
Bye.
geeks.